stream it. We are back with the halfway point of Lovecraft Country, episode 5, because there's 10.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that one, which is probably the grossest episode so far. Then we're going to look ahead and talk about how shows have started to go into production again amid COVID. So that's interesting. But first, got a real tough question, and that is, what is your favorite Pixar movie?
Wow.
That was a good one.
You can't make me pick.
I know, it's like the toughest crowd to ask that too.
So
where do you start?
It's interesting because, like, I feel like this is the case with, like, a lot of, kid-based movies. My mind instantly goes to Toy Story because it's just, like, the first one. It's such a classic. I was 6 or 7 when it came out, so it was, like...
Right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. That and Lion King are always, like, my go-tos with, like, Disney original animation and then Pixar.
Right.
But I have to say... Coco was so good and so original. The music was awesome. The actual animation, like when Coco walks upon the city of the dead the first time, and it looks like there's a famous city in Mexico that's what it looks like, and that's where they got it from. That's like easily in my top 3. So those 2, and then I'd have to think about.
I think I shed a tear at Coco.
Oh yeah,
in the theater.
That was so good.
God. I like sobbed every time I've seen it.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, I go to Toy Story 2 right off the bat just because...
Toy Story also?
No, Toy Story 2. No, yes, Toy Story, all of the Toy Stories, really. That's just an epic series, like, iconic, like, I don't know. But I also, when The Incredibles came out, I felt like Pixar was like picking up steam, and they were like, all right, we're going to do this. Like, but also Finding Nemo was great. I don't know. Finding Nemo and The Incredibles was like, Pixar's a thing.
They can do whatever they want.
It's here to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I'm just going to go through it all. And then I felt like Brave was the first one that was like look what we can do with like a landscape, or you know what I mean, like we can make this absolutely insane like animation.
Even Cars was like that with like the desert, like them driving through the desert.
So I mean, it really depends on what you want. For favorite, most iconic, most like visually impressive, best story. Inside Out was an incredible idea.
So clever.
And like done so well. So like, I don't know. I can't pick a single one. I'd have to put them in categories and then answer it from there. And that's my answer.
Took all of mine. I was gonna say,
Sorry.
I think like The Incredibles, just because. Well, yeah, I just feel like that one was my favorite, and like
I feel like The Incredibles for you would be like Toy Story or Toy Story 2 even for us, because you're a little younger. Mm-hmm. So like The Incredibles for you is like when we were in that range.
Yeah, definitely. And Finding Nemo, because that's like the earliest.
What was that, 2003 and 2004?
Yeah, I think so.
Finding Nemo was the earliest memory I have of movie theater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Or I thought you were going to say of anything.
Of anything.
Started life with...
So yeah, I think those 2. But I think the most clever is Inside Out. That's what I was also going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the cast of Inside Out is so perfect for each emotion. And this is a thing that like Pixar has done over and over, is like the casting is so great. But like Bill Hader being the scared one, Mindy Kaling being the like, what's... Disgust, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so great who they put in each spot.
You know which one I always feel like it's forgotten? Monsters, Inc. So good, so clever.
I just watched that recently, like during the quarantine.
That is like brilliant. I love the way they think at Pixar. It's so impressive.
I feel like other than the Toy Story, like it was a trilogy. I don't know what you call 4, but quadrilogy. The remakes haven't worked for me. Finding Dory, fine.
Oh, yeah.
The Cars ones were almost like, don't even do it.
Yeah.
The second Incredibles was fine, but when they've come out with like Inside Out, Coco, like the original ideas, it's so impressive and so good. And I think in Up, we haven't mentioned Up yet.
Oh, Up's great.
The first 10 minutes of Up are like the saddest 10 minutes in any movie ever.
Oh, God, yeah, there's too many.
But just like that idea, like, oh, fill up balloons and
Yeah.
it's...
What about the question, not to change it on you, but what's the most underrated Pixar movie?
Well, I actually think you nailed it with Monsters, Inc.
You think so? Yeah.
Just because it was like the third one or fourth one they made, so it was so early on.
Yeah.
Because, like, no one talks about A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life is good, but...
Yeah, it's not as... Do you forget about Bug's Life?
No.
You made a face like, oh,
scared
Bug's
me.
Life, I love Bug's Life.
No, I just remembered Ratatouille.
Oh, yeah.
I only saw that like a few weeks ago, but I feel like it's underrated in that sense because I never even saw it until
Yeah.
now, and it's so good.
Yeah, there's a lot you just forget. Like, you forget... I forget that there's a second and third Cars all the time because I was like...
Heard those are horrible.
Just like, I don't need any Mater in my life.
Yeah.
Like, my future children, they'll see Cars 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Monsters, Inc. is the most underrated as like an awesome overall clever idea, good animation, like Sully's like fur moving like in it's the idea, the whole world building of a whole monster world is
Right. And the switch from being scared to the laughter at the end is actually more powerful.
Yeah. What about you guys? What do you think's underrated?
I mean, that was the one I had said, I guess, but Up's probably in there. Although I feel like everybody likes Up. Good Dinosaur.
That's one I forget about.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that one.
That one's cute. It's not as good as the other ones.
Yeah, it was just kind of almost like they had to put one out.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of... They knocked it out of the park like every time.
And along these lines, it was just announced like this week or last week that Soul is going to be released on Disney Plus free. Oh, Onward was a good one too.
Onward was good.
That was released free on Disney Plus on Christmas Day.
Fun.
Yeah. And I heard...
Probably going to watch that.
When I heard someone say that might be the most widely accessible Pixar movie ever because 70 million people or something like that have Disney Plus. So on Christmas Day, they can quiet their kids by just putting it on.
Yeah.
So I bet that gets so many views in that first weekend.
Yeah.
Kids are home too.
I'm going to tune in.
Well, they're kind of home.
Christmas is on a Saturday, right?
Yeah. Is
Wow.
it? Friday?
Friday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. That opening weekend. That's great.
It's so strange how they decide to do that with like some movies. In Mulan, they did $30.
Yeah, I don't know why. But I wonder if they saw what happened with Mulan and they were thinking people are probably reordering Disney Plus now because of The Mandalorian and then might keep it through to see that or something.
And I think this season is like, we get away from summer. I think people are like, all right, I'm going to spend some time hunkered down here.
True.
Should we tackle Lovecraft Country, episode 5?
Let's do it.
So, Christina's the pale friend, the guy. He has a name, and it's William. So, that was... I don't know if it's always been William, but when they said it this episode, I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, I feel like the first or second episode, they were kind of just like referring to him as a butler guy because they realized he had no power.
Yeah.
That's what...
That's funny that that's the first note.
Yeah.
I thought that... Because, like, I think we've been mentioning that the past 2 times. You're like, oh... Her friend,
that guy
the
there.
blonde guy. And then Ruby is Letitia's sister, just in case anyone forgot.
And William is actually...
Well, we'll get there. Spoiler alert.
So he's not a vampire, which which we thought last time. Should I read the synopsis?
Yes, please.
All right. This episode mainly focuses on Ruby and William. After their strange date we see them on in episode 4. It picks up the morning after, I assume, when Ruby suddenly wakes up as a white woman. She immediately notices how much better the world treats her when she's white, but quickly learns that it was only temporary when she literally sheds that skin and is herself again. We find out that William had given her a transformative potion and tells her that she is free to do whatever she pleases with it. Ruby continues to take the potion and uses it to her advantage to get her dream job at the department store that had initially turned her away when she was her black self. By spending time in the white woman's skin, everyday racism and microaggressions become even more apparent to Ruby, specifically in the workplace. She uses her new ability for good when she attacks and terrifies the department store manager as revenge for taking advantage of the other black employee, Tamra. This whole Ruby plot ends with the big reveal that William was never real at all. It was actually Christina using the same potion to pose as him. Meanwhile, Atticus and Letitia struggle with the fact that Montrose killed Yaima and continue to progress in their own relationship. Montrose deals with his own self-discovery when it is revealed that he has a boyfriend who works as a drag performer, something that is clearly a secret to everyone else in his life.
Whoa, baby.
Yeah. I gotta say, I feel like this was my favorite one so far.
It definitely moved the story in an interesting way. Like, the rest were just like, there was no like convenient stuff in this one where it was like no eye roll convenient stuff. So the Montrose thing was hinted at before because he knew something, and Atticus was like, well, how do you know that? So Atticus must have like an inkling that his father's gay or bi or whatever he is. Earlier, there was like 3 episodes ago, he said he knew something that a friend told him or something, or he heard down at the club. But Atticus was like, where'd you hear that? And it was hinted at that he had a boyfriend.
Huh.
And I think last episode, it might have been the guy Tree said to like Hippolyta, like, oh, notice how close he is with, and he said someone's name.
Exactly,
like,
yes.
Watch how close he is.
And then Atticus it was around the same time Atticus like said something like, how do you know that? And I was like, oh, there might be more to Montrose here.
I wonder how does that like affect the overall plot though? You know what I mean?
I don't know if it does the overall plot.
I'm wondering if there'll be a reason to
his development, like as a character, maybe.
Maybe just that, yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is I'm wondering if there's going to be something with the club or with the thing that like is a next like tie-in to this magical / whatever. It's just I don't know. There seems like there could be more with that they're going to do.
Yeah.
Or somehow like the Sons of Adam have like a connection. I don't know. Like there's going to be some like.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
There could be also like the themes that the show just talks about. It could just be like, now this is what it was like for gay black men in the 50s. Like
True.
What they had to deal with.
Right.
That could they touch so many stuff like themes like that it could just be like,
I mean, this episode was literally what it would be like
yeah.
to walk in the shoes of a white person, yeah.
Or a white male for Christina's sake. Just like how different that is.
Yeah. As soon as the first scene like started with her waking up as that woman, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Because at first it took me a second. I was like, are they seriously like jumping to another plot?
Yeah, I was like, now I saw it, and before I like connected that it was Ruby, I was like, who is this? We're just being introduced into a new character here in the 5th episode.
Yeah, I was like, come on now.
I love how they're doing like using magic to like and then intertwining it with like this racism piece in a way to just like put it right in the viewer's face and then be like, but it's a magic, like it's because of magic that we're doing, you know what I mean? Like it's just like so entertaining, but also such a powerful like way to do it. Literally having her like be in a white person's skin, and then the skin whole thing was wild, especially in like the alley. Like the first one, I was like, oh, like when she was like in the room with like the plastic and was like, oh, this is going to be like intense. And then it wasn't that bad. Like, I don't know what,
He
you
even
know what
like
I mean?
took her out of it basically.
Yeah. Yeah. He like helped cut her like out or whatever. I guess he said it gets easier.
Yeah.
But then when she's in the alley, she's just like ripping out.
Well, there was also another point where it looked like she was almost like dead in an elevator, and you're like, wait, does she die every time and wake up? And then
we saw it
then
actually
we
fall
yeah,
off.
she like sheds the skin and becomes a beautiful butterfly. Like in Bug's Life.
It's wild.
Um,
I like too, she wasn't just like okay with it off the bat. Ruby was
Yeah.
like, well, like this, I don't, like, yeah, it was great to be white, but this is horrible. Like, don't. And then she was like, oh, I kind of like want to play this out and see where it goes. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like if that happened to like someone, they'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then it takes a little bit to warm up to the idea of like doing that.
Yeah, and I thought the like relationship between her and Tamra, that was her name, right?
Mhm.
How like it started as like just like interest, but like friendliness.
Yeah.
And then like I think it's just that she was jealous of like, why didn't they hire me? Like, you didn't even go to school.
Yeah, like, you need to be the best.
Yeah, but then like since she was in the white body, like she was being like what she despised,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like unintentionally. And then she kind of like realizes in the end when she sees her in the alleyway
Yeah.
with the guy, like,
That's a
oh,
good point, yeah.
well, she still has it really bad, even though I was jealous.
the final scene where Ruby takes care of that guy, the manager. Graphic,
Yikes.
but the Cardi B Red Bottom song playing was awesome. It was just like, because she handles the business with a high heel. I was like, this is perfect. This is so well done.
That was intense.
That was the second time. There was another, maybe it was the same song. That played again, I think when they were like just dancing around in the like, at work, the
yeah.
four white women.
Yeah.
I think it played then. But this is what we've talked about. They're playing current music with, it's in the 50s setting.
Yeah.
So what did, I was a little uncertain. What did Christina, well, William, but really Christina, want Ruby to put in the police officer's bag? Or,
Something that would incriminate him from being chosen as the leader,
Yes.
right?
yeah.
And maybe even, I'm not sure.
But it was some sort of incriminating evidence or something.
Yeah, but wasn't it like a rock or like a
Yeah, and it had,
medallion
like,
or something?
carvings of like the language in it or something.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it was something like he could have stolen or something.
Yeah, there's no other like plot advances other than showing that they have that like body changing.
Capability.
Yeah, and the points of like walking in the other's shoes, but like Atticus and Letitia didn't really get anywhere, and we didn't really figure out what was going on with that whole police captain or police chief thing. So it's
Yeah.
kind of all set up, but in a very interesting way. Like,
He had a weird, like, was it scarring or a tattoo? Did you notice that,
Yeah,
like,
it
his
was, like,
whole
gray.
chest was, like, gray or
oh yeah,
blackish or burned or something?
and the guy in the like closet.
Yeah.
Whoa,
So
what
they,
is going on?
yeah, they're into something with the Sons of Adam with that. Like,
And they were saying like he'll talk soon or something. Like
the dead man's dead.
usually you have like a room, like a torture room. Like you're just like, oh, keep him in the closet. Like what?
And that's kind of where Ruby snaps as the white woman towards Tamara. She was like, they're in the department store and she's yelling at her like, you need, like, or you find yourself strung up in a closet or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Atticus and Letty didn't really do much. They had the hieroglyphics.
Mm-hmm.
And Letty like realized that Montrose killed Yaima.
Yeah, she was just kind of sad the whole episode. I feel like it was just them like coming to terms.
And they were like trying to crack the
Emotions.
code of like whatever.
Which the code was die, and he called the person from the first episode. Remember the first episode
Yeah.
that they said stay away or whatever? Seems like he called them, and the camera panned down, and he cracked the code, and it said die.
Yeah, what was that about?
I don't know. We don't know who this person on the phone is.
But he was like, "Who are you? How'd you know?"
Yeah.
But then he also referenced that he dated someone.
Yes.
Like in Florida, or when he was like away in the service, he like references it.
Which was that the person that his
It was
memory?
wasn't he in the Korean War?
Yeah.
So Korea?
Yeah. Was
So-
that the person in the memory from the second episode where that like tried to kill him? And then he. That's what I thought, because he said it. There was someone in Korea or in the war, but it ended.
But why would you crack a code and have it say die and then be like, I gotta call this person? Like,
Yeah, that.
there seems to be some, like, that's quite a jump. Just be like, oh, this code from the Sons of Adam says the word, just the word die.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta call that Korean lady that I'm talked to in episode 1 and didn't have, like, was too chicken to say anything on the phone. I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, I have, from the first episode, thought that he called his mother. Am I wrong? Is she dead? We don't know anything about his mom. That's who I thought he called that first episode, but you guys said I was wrong. I could be wrong. I just thought, and I thought that's who he called again in the last episode. I almost said yesterday, but this is the episode came out weeks ago.
The episode yesterday.
I don't know. I feel like it could be because they have been referencing his mom a lot, like with Montrose. Like, he said something when they were in the underground tunnels about, like, oh, like, appreciate your woman, and then, like, says something about the mom. And then in this last episode, Atticus talks about how his parents' relationship wasn't, like, a good example for him. So I feel like they're referencing her, like, enough where it would make sense if they suddenly, like, tied her in.
Yeah.
I think when he calls it, the operator's like something about long distance or overseas or Korea or something. That's why I think we thought that.
All right.
So we just don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
And we assume it was from when he was overseas at war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole tie-in of Florida, too, confuses me, because I
Yeah.
never know what he's referring to.
I know. All of a sudden they were like, "Oh, I got to go back to Florida, live there." It's like, what? You lived in what?
That was a brief thing, like when you first showed up in the first episode.
You were in the Korean War. You got on a bus and you ended up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Where does Florida come in?
Is someone deleting, like, little scenes that happen in the most vital parts of the episodes? And I also thought we've been confused about the whole mansion crumbling, if it actually happened or if it's like a time machine. They referenced it in the captain's office. He like mentions it and is like, oh, like the incident that happened in Artem, what a shame. So like it definitely happened.
Okay, I wonder if it is just kaput. Because Christina / William are just now in Chicago.
Yeah.
They have magic,
But we
though,
didn't
so they could be anywhere.
We didn't see
It could not even really be them.
Pippa or Diana at all in this episode. They went to Artem.
Yeah.
So hopefully next episode.
Yeah.
I would love-
Maybe it's just a Hippa and Diana episode.
I kind of liked how this episode
This was a
was
good
just,
episode. Yeah.
like Ruby mostly.
This is almost like a sci-fi short film, all in itself. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the like if you started with the date and ended with it being Christine, like that story right there is like wild. With the department store and all the potions and it's like its own little movie.
Is that it for episode 5?
Well,
Yeah,
I like-
I mean, like what
I
we
like your
said.
questions here.
Yeah, you have 2 questions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, so my first one was, do you think Christina has more plans for Ruby?
I think so. I think they're going to utilize that.
I feel like they could work together now that she understands kind of the playing field. Like we can be other people. Like she was able to get into that party as a like maid undercover because she's a black woman and it wouldn't raise any eyebrows, and like she was able to do, work within that. And then Christina can be a white guy, so like, you know what I mean? I don't know what other potions they can
And the
mix
cop
up.
referenced them as a married couple when at the very beginning when she was walking around confused.
Oh,
the cop
yes.
said, your husband said he was looking for you or something. So like,
Right.
they could go off as a married couple.
Right. So there's definitely some, if they wanted to play some people, they have an ability to, you know.
I think it's interesting that she's like pretending to be William, but William has no like social standing in the Sons of Adam.
Yeah.
So she's really not gaining anything from it right now.
But I wonder if that makes sense, because if he's not real, she could have figured this potion out, right? And then started bringing him around. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I don't know how he would get into the Sons of Adam if he wasn't already like a part of it. You know what I mean? Like if Christina made William. So he wouldn't be in this.
Oh.
You know what I
Be
mean?
like someone you don't
I
have
see what
to,
you're
not
saying.
threatened by. Like are you saying?
Oh, I'm just, you were saying Christina tries to, like, tries to be William so that he could be in the Sons, but it makes sense that he wouldn't be in the Sons if he never existed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Like if she made him, then,
that's true.
like you were just saying, he's not a part of it. But that's because he never was a part of it. You know what I mean? Like he was created by someone who wasn't in
the
it.
beginning of her journey.
Yeah, exactly. Step 1, become a guy.
Yeah, I'm putting too much pressure on her. And then my second question was, do you think Yahima's actually dead? Because I don't think she is.
Really?
I feel like it just happened so fast, and then they keep talking about like, I feel like it would just be too easy if like all he did was slit her throat and like that solved that.
I feel like though with this show, sometimes things happen just that easy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Things have happened a little easy with the show.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it seemed like him sitting there covered in her blood, and then Atticus freaking out and beating him up. It just seemed like she was gone.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. There's so much going on. It's like
Yeah.
some things are really, really like played out in front of you, and some things are just like done.
Yeah, I don't know how many more Atticus and Letty sex scenes we need. Like, it's like
They're a couple. They're an item.
so we've had 2 of those and then 1 makeout scene at the end of an episode. We get it.
That was this whole episode. It's
Yeah.
just them like liking
Give the
each
people what they
other.
want.
More
he's-
Indiana Jones episodes.
Yeah. He was like, now it's real. I'm like, what was it before?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens next week for episode 6.
Yeah, this seemed more like a, I don't know, filler episode or something. It's like one of those times where it's like, show's 10 episodes, but you wonder if you take out a couple things if you can make it 8. You know?
Well, we won't know until we watch
Yeah.
the next one and see if any of that stuff plays.
Like, yeah, true.
But this one was a little bit more isolated.
Yeah.
Although they have all had a different kind of vibe from one to the next.
Yeah.
So
This one was like horror,
Yeah.
at least for those scenes.
Like
there's been a couple horror moments throughout, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
This
the
was like
grossest one.
this is like a
But like ghosts in the basement with
Frankenstein.
like
Well, this one was more like
dismantled bodies.
like
Gory.
not slasher because no one was Yeah, like gory.
Yeah.
That side of horror.
Yeah,
Yeah. Frankenstein monster movie type.
they're just all over the place.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that they're crazy with it.
I wonder, it'd be interesting to hear what like Jordan Peele, and he developed it with someone else, I forget who.
It's like Misha Green.
What they
And J.J. Abrams.
what they said, like if they were like, oh no, the 4th episode was straight up a Steven Spielberg like movie basically.
Yeah.
And then this horror director, that was the reason for episode 3, or you know,
Yeah.
just like that'd be interesting because you know that's what they're doing. They're just bouncing around the different types.
Yeah. I wonder too, he was probably inspired by, he is the like host of the new Twilight Zone. And I feel like it's very similar where every episode is like obviously different
Yeah.
and kind of has the different genres. So, like I wonder if being a part of that, he was like, oh, you can do that like so easily for different shows too.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, there's another update on movie theaters. I heard today AMC says that they'll probably run out of money late this year or early next year if things don't get better. So that's sad. But they're talking about trying to repurpose, like we mentioned last week. But I think that they're just like, what can you repurpose a movie theater for?
Yeah.
Unless you just like knock the building down. But
Yeah.
Almost like I wish they could just shut down for like a little bit, but that's not how business works.
yeah.
That's actually kind of what they've been doing since
Right.
Well, I think
April.
that's what they basically were like, if we can't open and have like a normal amount of people start coming in, we won't.
Which,
survive.
based on like recent news, everyone's just pushed movies back.
Yeah.
Like to think that there were supposed to be like 2 Marvel movies, 2 Pixar, a James Bond movie, and a Mission Impossible
What's gonna
movie.
happen?
It's so crazy that that's what keeps movie theaters going.
Mm-hmm.
People don't go to the movie theater to see like King of Staten Island. They go for like those.
Yeah, the blockbusters.
Yeah.
I wonder what could happen.
Old movies have been playing at a lot of theaters like the past few months. And 2 weeks ago, like the #1 box office hit of the week was Hocus Pocus.
That's not surprising.
But it's just funny because it's like the most successful movie of this season is one that came out in like 1998.
Yeah. I wonder if these movie theaters shut down, if there'll be like new ownerships in 5 years that pop up.
Or if like the Netflix, Amazon, HBO just like scoop up theaters and show their stuff there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when the time comes, like it's definitely like a changing landscape. This is like wild.
Which is too bad because there are like, I feel like theaters were really, other places, maybe in cities it was a bigger thing, but around us, theaters were starting to like have a bar, have like different food than just like popcorn and candy. Like that was starting to make its way.
But maybe that'll be even more of a thing when someone opens up a new one. They'll be like, I want a whole
like a
entertainment experience.
Yeah,
like
a
you know,
boutique movie theater.
With a craft beverages and
like breakfast sandwiches for like the morning showing.
That'd be wild.
That'd be awesome. It would be.
I mean, it's gonna be different.
I'm surprised too, and you kind of mentioned this last week, that like Steven Spielberg was, they were asking to get like loans, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that big directors haven't even just like bought some like ownership in movie theaters, because they need it more than anyone. Like the people making the movies right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'd stand to make anything from buying a theater. Like, they need to figure out.
It's more like, I think directors like that are just like purists. So they're like, I make this movie, I want it shown on a 70-foot screen with surround sound. But at the same time, they could say, hey, Steven Spielberg, here's $200 million for a movie on Netflix. And he'd be like, okay. Like, I love movie theaters, but it's $200 million.
Yeah.
So.
I wonder if, like, what if there was a new streaming service that was called, like, I don't know, like The Theater or something, and it was, like, all blockbuster movies. I don't know. And you could pay, I don't know, that'd be wild.
Seems like you have the seeds to an idea here. You just
call it home box office.
I feel like I could see that being a thing though, but it would probably be like $100.
Yeah, $100 a month.
The problem with that is like you'd need like Universal and Warner Brothers and all these different things to work together when they're really just like competing. It's the studios that need theaters, not the actors or directors or
So I guess like I'm surprised that studios haven't bought some theaters.
Yeah. But Warner's.
But that's the thing. The theaters still aren't. No one's gonna go. So the studios need to buy their own service, or you know what I mean? Like.
Well, Warner Brothers has HBO Max now.
I know, but I guess I'm saying they got to figure out a way to make the money that they would make in a box office to keep making these movies, because a theater isn't going to do it. You know what I mean? For now. In the future, I like the idea of like things are fine, and then like they just start buying, like the studios buy the theaters and run them. Like that'd be crazy. Imagine if you went to like the Warner Brothers theater, like over in Marlboro. You know what I mean? Like that'd be crazy. Like, or like, oh, I want to go watch 20th Century Fox. I got to go to like the Westboro. You know what I mean? Like that'd be wild.
But I wonder if that also like hurts them too, rather than us just being like, well, let's just go to the mall and see. Maybe
each room will be designated. I don't know. This is crazy.
Maybe just after the pandemic ends, they just slowly start to...
comes back, yeah, maybe.
I think it's just a little too much of like, the real problem was even happening well, the real problem is the pandemic, but even before the pandemic, people were just like, I'll just watch it when it's on Netflix.
Yeah, times they are changing.
Because like $15 or wait till it's on Netflix. It's
kind of reminds me of when like music streaming kind of took over, and artists were like, wait, no one's gonna buy my album anymore. I'm not gonna get like, it's like, no, you can keep making music, but and they still like Spotify and like they still get money from it, which is good. But it's probably not like what it was. Instead of people buying a $15 album, they buy a $1 song. You know what I mean? Like, or
well, who even buys a song
anymore? Or right, or they just get I'm just the progression of it. And now it's like, if somebody plays it, I get you know what I mean?
So like if you are the number one streaming song, you get money from that, right?
Right.
So I wonder if
so like
eventually if you're the number one streamed movie, like it trickles down.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like your box office is actually your views. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't think that equates to the same amount. But maybe like you don't get the millions of dollars that you got before,
Yeah. But the interesting thing is the people that are like losing the money that are all the studios, because like Netflix isn't hurting throwing money at like Ron Howard has a movie, the trailer just came out today, with Amy Adams and Glenn Close, and it's this Ron Howard movie because it's on Netflix. They were just like, here's money. They don't, like the streaming services don't care about theaters. Netflix,
but that's what I'm saying. The studios are going to have to start competing with Netflix and Amazon.
Yeah.
Because they have a streaming service that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So at some point they've got to like buy into the whole streaming service thing.
Totally,
and just give up that the box office is how I'm going to make my money. Or because they'll just stop making movies. You know what I mean? So it's either you make movies and you put them on streaming services, or you don't make movies and these other companies make movies and they get to be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's, at some point it's going to be like put up or like get out,
Yeah. Bring back MoviePass.
Yeah. I never used that, but
I always wanted to. I was like, is this worth it? And I was like doing the math in my head. I was like, yeah, I think it is. And then it just like went defunct. It was like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
I think there was like 3 months that it was actually like really good. Because I see a lot of like tweets on like film Twitter that are like take me back to 2018 where I had those 3 months of bliss with MoviePass.
It is like, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. I wonder if you could do like...
What is MoviePass?
So basically you buy like a card, but a subscription, and you just go to any theater that takes MoviePass and you just can see any movie that's in the theater.
And it was for like, how much was it per month? It was like super cheap.
$50, wasn't it?
Oh, I think before it was even cheaper.
Oh, I felt like it was, you needed to see like 3 movies a month to make it worth it.
Oh, that must be it then.
Yeah. It was a good idea, but in the end it was like, theaters were like, oh, we're losing a ton of money on this. We're not doing it.
Because people go every week, like twice a week.
Yeah, I think they immediately started rejecting it. And someone was like, oh, Regal doesn't take it. It's
yeah.
Like, so where are you going to go?
Yes. Like, if there's 7 movies playing in a theater, you can go, like, see all 7 in a month and pay $50 instead of whatever 7 times 15 is.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had bought that, if it was still a thing now, and you bought it in like January.
Yeah.
I'm psyched. I want to go see more movies. This is going to be my year.
Movies and shows have started to film again, which we also sort of mentioned last time, but I looked it up, and like Stranger Things started filming season 4 September 28th. So, and like people are already like posting pictures of them on set. So that's promising. That if a big show like that is jumping back into it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like now, you know, you see it, all the sports leagues playing and everything. It's like we can have it so that we have testing and like have no cases. It's safe to do this.
Right.
And if you can like, you know, other than the actors actually on the screen and stuff, if you can have people like wearing masks or distancing, it's like, okay, we can do this. And I think that's what a lot of people are like thinking right now. Like we can get back to.
Yeah. Press on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like there's more info about like the virus and everything now
Yeah.
than when they shut everything down.
Yeah. And I feel like when they started to announce that sports were going to happen again, people are probably like, well, football players can tackle each other.
Yeah.
We can probably film a little scene with 2 actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I wonder how many productions are like skeleton crews. So like,
Yeah.
if you have a scene in Stranger Things where it's, well, we're unsure about Hopper, but say it's Mike and 11 in a room, you could have like a sound guy, a few people running the camera and stuff, the director and those 2, and that's it.
It's probably really nice for the actors.
Yeah.
Less people watching. And then I didn't watch the first season of The Witcher, but they started filming the 2nd season in August. I didn't even know it got renewed for a 2nd season.
That was good.
Yeah, I made it like 3 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
Oh, I liked it. We
You're
watched
into
the whole
like
thing.
the sci-fi, like
Yeah.
magical. That's your
Fantasy.
yeah.
I'm all over the place.
That's your little
Niche.
niche.
Yeah.
I feel like it filled the gap for a lot of Game of Thrones people.
Yeah.
Some Game
Yeah,
of Thrones people
vibe,
not,
yeah.
but
Also,
Sounds
video
similar.
game people because it was a video game.
that's right.
Wow.
But they probably film in like, just from seeing what it looks like, it's probably in an area where it's not very populated.
Yeah, more remote.
Yeah, so they can get
Wherever
away
there are
with it.
castles still.
Yeah. And then one final thing that I thought has been interesting is how late night hosts are back in their studios and filming the show normally, but there's no one in the audiences.
That's weird.
It's very strange. Like,
Huh.
and they like Zoom call their guests, so that's different, obviously. But there's like either no laughter or there's laughter from like 5 people, and it's people on like a webcam. Like I think Ellen puts like screens in the seats. It's very weird.
That's weird.
That is strange.
Is it better if you come back with like a laugh track in post production? Like
Yeah.
you film it, put a laugh track on it.
I wonder like how necessary it is. Like, is it weird when they don't? Like, if there wasn't any crowd interaction?
I feel like it's not weird. Like it's only kind of weird when like the guest is like telling a story and it's like silent after it.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's more weird for like them though than like the people watching.
Right.
Because we're just watching on like.
I know we're used to
YouTube.
watching like Jimmy Kimmel or
Yeah.
like Jimmy Fallon just like do their skits and their interviews and
Yeah.
like the crowd's not a part of it really. Like,
Yeah, they must play off the crowd so much when they're like giving their monologue.
Yeah. Any live performance, like you do it, you get psyched up to do it. Like I don't know. As far as giving that performance, it's got to be weird to do it just for
Yeah, you don't
cameras.
know if it's working
yeah. Yeah.
at all.
True.
But Conan, I think he's like handling it the best from what I've seen, because he'll like acknowledge the fact that no one's in the audience, and he'll put like, is it Andy Richter? Will be the only one sitting in the audience, and the camera will show him, and he'll like clap or like yell something of like, I don't get it, and like Conan will just like play off of that. But it's really funny because he's like,
Yeah.
he's
Making
like
a joke
completely
of-
aware of the situation.
Right.
So yeah, do you guys have any that?
I looked up a couple. Well, the big one was the Batman
Yeah.
Recently, pictures came out that it's back. And that shut down because I think Robert Pattinson got COVID. And then I saw The Little Mermaid. There's a live-action remake.
Does that happen?
It started production. I think it was in an article from like August or September, so they must have done the same thing. And I'm sure it's just in front of a green screen, so they can probably just do it in like Georgia, where everything's shot in front of green screens.
Yeah.
I also heard that Ewan McGregor said the Obi-Wan show is either just starting production or about to start.
Good.
Yeah. So
Is that going to be on Disney Plus?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
So that's something, and I heard a big actor, I forget who it was, wears Boba Fett's clothes. So like, it's just, I don't know if that's going to be the Mandalorian or the Obi-Wan show. And then the last one was, so there was, on HBO, there was Band of Brothers, and then they made about the 101st Infantry during World War II. And it was like a true story. It's a book about these guys. And then in the episodes, they interview the actual people and then show the episode. And then they made one for the Pacific called The Pacific with Marines. But it was an original story. But like Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks were the producers and like all that. And now there's one they just announced for HBO Max called Masters of Air, which is going to be about the Air Force in World War II. Same like kind of, I think it's Playtone is Tom Hanks' production company. I think they're involved. And
wow,
that just got announced, so it's not like in production or anything, but like I loved those two series. Like I've seen Band of Brothers I think 3 times. It's awesome, so I'm pumped for that.
Nice.
The history buff.
Yeah.
That's how you know everything about attitude.
Oh, that was the Korean War.
Oh no, I didn't know. I was so confused.
19.
No, that's true.
I was so confused.
There hasn't been a show about that one yet.
Yeah. And then I saw Avatar 2.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
called him. Oh.
But then I saw something also like a month ago that James Cameron said Avatar 2 is like 99% done and Avatar 3 is 50% done.
I saw that too.
What? Why do we need to go back there 2 more times?
You didn't like Avatar?
It was fine.
I thought Avatar was cool.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know. It was like virtual reality, like a movie about virtual reality.
Yeah.
I get it in like the CGI, that was all like incredible.
Yeah.
But we're 11 years removed and now that's just kind of like in everything.
Papyrus. Sorry.
Papyrus, that was so good. Oh, SNL, that's back too. Have you seen the
yes.
Papyrus thing?
Yeah, with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Avatar, the giant international blockbuster, used the Papyrus font as its logo.
Why would they use that font?
That was so good.
Multi-million-dollar movie.
I think James Cameron just like, I think that if it came out like 2 years after the first one, people would have loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he doesn't realize that like 11 years later, people's like interests change.
But
or like,
didn't he say it took him 12 years to make? The original Avatar. But I think a lot of it was like...
Maybe his movies aren't epic. It's just he's a slow producer.
Yeah.
like I think he needs to like get on it.
Well, there's something about him because there's like stories that Titanic is historically one of like the worst productions ever. It just like basically...
Like it could have been done really quickly instead of taking 9 years.
Well, it like cost so much money. It just took a long time and all this stuff. I mean, everything he makes the most money, so...
Yeah. Well, maybe not anymore.
Yeah. Well, he's probably just going to hold
Straight
on.
to...
Yeah. Straight to Amazon Prime. Not even
Avatar 2 and 3.
Not even Netflix or HBO. It's going to go to Prime Video, where everyone's like, how do I watch this?
And everything is $3.99
Yeah.
for some reason.
No one knows that they have Prime Video, but everyone has Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh.
Prime Day.
I mean, I guess we have things to look forward to.
Yeah.
So we can keep tracking some of those. But we'll watch episode 6 of Lovecraft for next week. We'll see you then.